Welcome! Welcome, lovelies, to this week's episode of Lilith's live show. I'm excited to be here with you to talk about shamanic journeying, the do's and the don'ts. Let's give everybody here a moment to come online. Everybody on the recording, you can already let me know how you're doing today. Hi, everybody. There's already a few of you here to tell me how you're doing today. Sharon, it's amazing. I'm glad you're here. So I'm live here every week on Saturdays at 5 p.m. CET. And often the topics, you choose them. So often, sometimes it's obvious what I need to talk about because, I read your comments, so I know what you most need. But sometimes I actually put in a poll into the group to see what you most need. Charlotte, hi. Yeah, tomorrow, the start of the apprenticeship. I'm excited too. It's going to be really beautiful. It's such an incredible moment to start this right now with the summer solstice and the new moon. Actually, yeah, the solar eclipse as well. It's a really powerful start into something new. I'm having a cup of coffee. For those of you who know me a little bit, that's rare. I'm super tired today. I can really, it's not for nothing that my parents named me Lilith Moon. I'm very connected to the moon and its energies. And the funny thing is that normally on the new moon, I feel, very bright, very alive. It's just before I start to bleed normally, so I really feel quite good. But this one is super intense. I feel good, emotionally, but I just feel really tired. How about you? Yeah, there you go, Victoria. Yeah, all of us have been feeling a little bit flat. It's really intense energies. But the cool thing is that we can really use them to our advantage. I shared a little bit more about that in the post before. And right now, I want to talk about learning shamanic journeying, the do's and don'ts. I was talking to Catherine, one of our beautiful women, yesterday, and she really, with her questions, made me realize that I was taking so much for granted, when I talk about journeying, that actually isn't. So I thought it would be really good for you to especially know what not to do. because, because I, in my private shamanic healing sessions, again and again, I have people, men and women, who have just opened up way too quickly, and that's not good. Then you attract all kinds of really negative energies into yourself, and I want to help you avoid that and make you realize what it actually takes to learn shamanic journeying safely, step by step. Feel free to ask any questions in between time. Hi, Angelique. Great to have you here as well. Thank you. You too. Okay, let's dive in. So, let's take a step back. What is shamanism? How would you define it? Some of you have been here a while, and we've talked a lot about it in the challenge. So, shamanism is, I would say, our oldest holistic healing and awareness practice. It's 40,000 to 100,000 years old. And it developed on all 5 continents at the same time before these people even had any means of communicating with each other. So it's just very obvious that this developed as our brains developed, and it's an innate part of who we are. So it's not a belief. It has nothing to do with religion. It's actually all about the experience with shamanism. It is direct revelation. So there's nothing that you need to believe. When I say to you, there is no hell, or this is how it works, because there's the middle world, there's the upper world. When I tell you these kinds of things, that's not what I believe. That's what I have experienced. And people from all around the globe experience it in the same way. So that's because that's how the energetic basis of our universe works. And the thing is, as long as you take it from somebody who tells it to you, then it's a belief for you because, you haven't experienced it yet. But once you experience it, it becomes real. Then it has nothing to do with a belief anymore. And I've guided some of you through journeys already, so you already know that's all about the experience and direct revelation. Now, what shamanism really is, it's a set of practices and rituals that differ greatly from one shamanic culture to the next, but the core practice that they all have in common is shamanic journey. Okay? So whether you look at Native American shamanism or Mongolian shamanism or Siberian shamanism or Brazilian shamanism, what they all have in common is the practice of shamanic journeying, which is really the core of it and the only thing that you really need to practice shamanism. So what is shamanic journeying? It's an innate capacity that we have to broaden our perception, to access higher consciousness by changing our brainwaves from a beta or alpha frequency to a delta or theta frequency. So the beta frequency is this frequency that most of our fellow human beings are anchored in a beta frequency, which is where you feel stressed a lot and it's just about your day-to-day life and getting things done, and you always feel like there's not enough time and it's all a little overwhelming and it's all about this right here experience and there's really nothing else. And then when you switch to an alpha state, that's the state of meditation where you feel like much calmer, much more connected to yourself, to your breathing, to your body. But then what we do in shamanism is we go a step further. We go to a delta or a theta state. So theta would be, that's like what enlightenment is, right? That's where you experience oneness with everything. And delta is the state before that. And on most shamanic journeys, this is where we will land, in a delta state, where we do experience ourselves as love and light, and we do feel that we are deeply connected to everything, and we can consciously access all the energies around us and realize what they are. So that's pretty amazing. Because obviously everything, right, also everything that has already manifested has an energetic basis. And it's really hard to try to, for example, change the shape of this cup. It's already manifested. That's difficult. Like, a relationship pattern that you have with somebody specific, that's already manifested. But so, if I try to change that by forcing it, then it's not going to really help. But if I access the energetic basis of it, that's really easy. Energies shift really easily if you know how to shift them. So how do we access that expanded consciousness? There's lots of different ways. The traditional one is by playing the shamanic drum, which reminds us of our mother's heartbeat in the womb. So it really instantly triggers us into this state of deep relaxation, which is more relaxing than sleep. And this is where we instantly, that's why it feels so home for most of us to hear the drum. And of course, there's other ways as well. You've all heard about plant medicine. I myself have never used plant medicine. There's lots of people who I really respect and love, like Barbie, for example, who do use plant medicine. So I don't think that there's a right or wrong here, but I definitely think that if you want to experiment with that, you need to be very careful, because these substances are hard to measure and they can open you up like from one second to the other very, very much. And if you don't know how to really manage your own energy, then you're also gonna, this openness is not just gonna be beautiful, but you can also attract lots of surrounding energies into yourself that might not at all be for your highest good. So definitely be careful, especially if you don't have the best mental health. This can also be really dangerous. Like, that's absolutely me, That's why I don't drink more than one glass of wine. That's why I've never done drugs, because I know that I'm too sensitive. It influences me too much. Like, my mental health would absolutely not allow for it. So especially those of us who have experienced a lot of trauma, it's mostly not the best way to go about these things. Yeah, so the drum is completely enough, right? It's all that we need to get into this state of expanded awareness. And once we are in that trance state, we can experience and travel the shamanic realm, which is the energetic reality of our universe. Good, let me just check the comments here. Haha. Okay, Angelique, you say you drink coffee daily with the kids now. Well, you might want to try what I love, which is yerba mate. I'm gonna pop it into the comments for you all. That's what they drink instead of coffee in South America, all over South America, and it's really powerful, just like coffee. And I've run out of mine right now. I have to order it. Depends on where you live, if you can buy it locally. I mean, I can, but not the nice organic quality that I like. And it's actually really, really healthy. So it gives you, coffee is like, it gives you this peak and then there comes a low. Mate is not at all like that. I mean, unless you drink it like as a shot. The traditional way of drinking it is like in a, I forgot the word what it's called, but you drink it from a small round thing and with a bombilla, with this kind of straw, and that's super intense. That's like a shot. So I don't recommend that. I make it just as like normal tea in a big cup, which I can really recommend. Completely off topic, but I hope it serves. Okay, no questions so far. Good. So, right, the energetic basis of our universe, the shamanic realm. So that's really like right here. This is ordinary reality that we experience, right? The reality that we can experience through our normal senses, through our eyes, through our ears, that we can touch, right? This is ordinary reality. And right here in the same place, there's also a different reality, which we call the middle world. That's a part of non-ordinary reality, which we can experience with our third eye or with our other clairs, with clairaudience, for example. So when we expand our senses and we move from the outer senses to the inner senses, and that's what we do with the trance state. It makes it really easy. So this here right now is the place of the middle world, and that's where you will find lost soul pieces, for example, that have not been able to make the transition. This is where you can find people who are astral projection. I don't really like that term very much. It's actually a shamanic middle world journey, but that term is better known. So, and this is also obviously where you have like kinds of more like normal day energies, right? When somebody is very angry and you're in the same room, then you will feel that energy and you can attract that energy, which might not be great for you. But this is how we get energetic attachments from other people. And of course, we can also attract other people's soul parts. And in shamanic healing sessions, it's all about taking those energies and soul parts away that are not ours. That's what we do with extractions, and bringing back the soul parts and the part of our personal power that we have lost. And then there's another energetic realm that is above the middle world and another one that is below. They're called upper world or lower world. The lower world is often also referred to as the underworld, but I don't really like that term because with the underworld, mostly people associate that with the Greek underworld, with the place where the dead go, but that's not at all where the dead go. The dead go into the bardo, which is a place of pure light where they can process this lifetime, heal from their wounds, plan their next lifetime before they incarnate again. So the lower world is what we could also call the subconscious. It's pretty much the same thing. And the upper world is what we would call the superconscious. So it's really abstract to talk about this, but the best thing is to just experience it. But this is where you have all kinds of light beings who live there, spirit helpers, that can help you to navigate your life a lot better, because they have obviously a much broader perspective of what's really going on. And it's just amazing to have that perspective. Yeah, so yeah, here we are already at the point of why do we need to learn shamanic journeying? Why would we want to? So first of all, it's because it's the only spiritual practice that you will ever need, because you can use it for everything. You can use it for healing, like the kind of deep healing, like, getting back soul pieces and extracting energies that aren't yours. You can use it for guidance, for example, on how to make important decisions. You can use it for manifesting, consciously letting go, consciously welcoming in. You can use it to process what's going on in your life, to understand why things are going on in your life, to understand your life's purpose, your soul journey. You can use it to create much more trust in life, and to grow your confidence and to grow your self-love. Those are, trust in life, confidence, self-love, those are pretty much byproducts that will happen automatically if you experience that bigger picture of who you are again and again. And another reason why we learn it, well, it's the most time-tested and powerful practice. The results are just incredible. You don't need years of therapy or doctor's treatments if you can do shamanic journeying. Like, I'm not saying medicine isn't useful, of course, especially like in emergency situations, for example. But like when it comes to most illnesses, shamanic healing is the best way you can go, because you're not dealing with symptoms, but you're actually healing at the core. So yeah, I mean, it's basically the key to more ease and joy in your life, to bring so much more lightness into everything. And to create your life the way you want it to be. But the thing is, we all know that life is not just rainbows and butterflies. So obviously the energetic foundation of our universe isn't either. So there are dark forces and places and beings. And when learning journeying, it's really important to understand that and learn how to be safe. So let's dive in with the don'ts of learning shamanic journeying. Before I check your comments. Oh yeah, I'll check your comments before. Are you able to communicate with those going through the light process that have recently passed? No. So that's a really interesting question. So the way it happens is, when we die, the soul stays within the body for a few days. And our ancestors all knew that, which is why, there were open caskets before, because, that was really important, because then the soul could leave and wouldn't stay in the body, because it's normal that it stays in the body for a little while, but then at some point it has to make its transition. So if you close the casket, for example, or if somebody is cremated too fast, then it can really hinder that soul ascension, which obviously isn't great. That's why shamans also do something that's called psychopump work, which is where we help lost souls ascend, go into the bardo. So in those first few days, you can communicate with the soul, absolutely. But then while the soul is in the bardo, you can't. It's a place that is completely, like, I can't really describe it. Like, my apprentices, you already know what that's like when you send soul parts into the bardo. It just appears as this huge portal of incredible light. It's so bright that even on a shamanic journey, it seems to just hurt your eyes. And this is where we don't have access to while we are incarnated. But then, obviously, the soul incarnates again. So that means that, it's not like the souls will stay around forever so we can communicate with them. That's not what happens. But what does happen is every life, right? Every life that we live leaves an imprint. And we can always access that imprint. So the soul goes on, right? Incarnates into another body. But that imprint of a person's personality in this lifetime stays. So this is who we can then communicate to. Okay, this is what mediums do. This is what they channel. I hope this makes sense. These are all really, really deep and difficult subjects to understand with the mind. So me talking about it now, nothing that I can say can be really accurate because this is just not a place that the mind can access. But I hope that my words point you towards a truth that you can feel somewhere. Hi Emma, lovely to see you. How are you doing? So going on with the don'ts, okay? So don't think that you can learn this from a book. You can't learn shamanic journeying from a book. It's all about an experience, and you need to be guided by somebody as you do it. Leads me to the second point. Don't do a DIY course to learn it, like a do-it-yourself course, because this is big. You go into yourself deeper than it's the deepest that you can possibly go. And that can trigger all kinds of things. So you want to be safely held while doing that. You want to have a chance to ask questions, okay? You also want to be sure that each of the practices is suitable for you specifically. You can't do that if you buy a DIY course, okay? Third point, don't study with somebody who is not a good teacher. Meaning that they might be a great shamanic healer, but they don't know how to teach, okay? They just make you jump in headfirst without even knowing where you are at, which can cause trauma. Okay, so make sure that the person you want to learn from is a good teacher as well as a great shamanic healer. The biggest no-go is don't do random shamanic journeys that you find on YouTube, for example, okay? On these journeys, you let yourself be guided super deep, super fast. And that can be really, really dangerous. Like I said before, you open up too quickly, you attract all kinds of energies. That brings us to another one. Never do a shamanic journey when you're not in a safe place, okay? Never do that outside where you can't control who will come by. Never do it when your kids could come into the room. Always make sure that you're going to be undisturbed and in a safe place. If you're doing it at home, make sure that you set up your wards, like you make sure that your home is energetically protected. And the last one, another no-go, some of you might, already experience journeying, journeys that just happen without you meaning them to happen. And that's great on the one hand, because it means that you're ready to learn it, but that does not mean that you don't need guidance on how to navigate the shamanic realm, okay? So find a mentor. That's really, really important. Good. I'll wait if there's questions about any of these points. Oh, Angelique, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you already told me it's really difficult to process when somebody dies. I know that. Angelique, feel free to send me a private message, then we can talk more about this. Good, so let's move on to the do's, okay? How the best way to learn shamanic journey. First of all, learn with a real life mentor, okay? Because even if shamanic journeys spontaneously happen for you already, and you already have your spirit guides, everybody who has studied shamanic journey with me, like Emma, for example, you know that spirit guides, some of them have never been incarnated, okay? So they often speak in metaphors, and sometimes they have a hard time imagining what their lives are like, and and also they will only interfere in as much as you allow them to. So that means that being this much opened up and only having your spirit guides at your side might not be the greatest way to stay safe and see great results from your journey. Okay? So our spirit guides are amazing. Like, I would never like to have my life without them. But it's really, really, really helpful if you first have somebody like here, an incarnated person, who can teach you how it all works, how you frame your intentions for your journeys, how you can understand your spirit guides without any doubt, all of these kinds of things, because it's not obvious. It will not just automatically fall into place. And the next really, really, really important thing is to learn step by step. Okay? There are different steps that you need to take here if you want this to be safe, if you want this to be a beautiful healing journey and not one that can possibly, really mess with your health on all kinds of levels. So the first step, okay, this is exactly the process that I teach myself in the transformation. Okay, so first step, nurture your self-love, so that you actually feel deserving of the spirit world opening up like that for you. This is one of the biggest blocks that I experience with people who want to learn journeying, that their self-love just isn't big enough to allow for them to open up in this way. They feel like they don't deserve it. Okay, so nurture your self-love, first one. The second step is make sure that your body is healthy and strong and relaxed. If your life force isn't flowing smoothly through your body, you will also have difficulty with shamanic journeying. Okay? This is why I combine yoga with everything that I do, right? Third step, calm your mind. Learn how to calm your mind. This is really important because the mind is completely absent when we're doing shamanic journeying. Okay? There's no thinking involved at all. It's all your inner knowing that is received, which you don't need thoughts for. So if you really have monkey mind, you'll find it really hard, even in the trance state, to make your mind go quiet. So first you have to learn how to do that. And the fourth step is make sure that you know how to ground yourself in your body. And you need to practice that for days, or better, even for weeks, before you even start trying shamanic journeys. Because that's the thing, for me, shamanism, shamanic journeying is a really grounding practice. But it's not for everybody. So what happens to some people is they go up, 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 especially those who are very drawn to the upper world, to the higher realms of consciousness. And then this is the kind of moment where it can happen that your soul leaves your body without you meaning to. And I know this because this has happened to me several times before I learned shamanic journeying, when I had a very intense yoga practice. So I know what that feels like. And then you're at this point where you're like, oh, you're being asked, okay, so is this the moment you want to transition? And then I decided I didn't want to, but to be honest, I might have died, I might have been like, oh yeah, because the light is quite seducing, right? So on some level, we all long to be one with everything and everyone again. So careful there. Absolutely make sure that you have strong roots here in your incarnated world, which I definitely didn't have for most of my life. I'm just, I'm a fire and air person, not at all grounded. And shamanism, doing it the right way will definitely ground you. The fifth step, okay, you need to get used to the trance state bit by bit. So first, just get used to listening to the beat of the drum. Then you can do shamanic meditations. They like journeying, but they don't go that deep. Okay, so this is how you can learn to let go and relax into the process as well. And the sixth step is get to know your stone circle and your tree of life first. That's your place of power. You want to get really familiar with it before you go further. So this is your energetic home here in the middle world, in the energetic realm of this place that we inhabit here. And seventh step, only then you could go to the gateway into the shamanic realm, to talk to the guardian of the gateway to see if you're truly ready. Another really important step that most people don't teach at all. They don't even know that there is a gateway. The thing is, we have free will. So if you want to enter, you're ready for it, you can enter. But it might not be good for you at this point. That's why there is a guardian. Okay? So talk to the guardian. He will know if you're ready or not. And if you're not, he will be able to tell you what you need to do to be ready. And only then, step 8, can you enter the shamanic realm. And when you do it for the first time, you must absolutely be guided by somebody experienced so that you can find your personal power animal. It's also known as spirit animal. And your inner home. Okay, that's like your place of power in either the upper world or the lower world. So that you will never travel the shamanic realm alone. Okay, you're always guided and protected, and you always travel specific paths to and from your inner home so that you can never be led astray by all kinds of energies that are there. And only then, step 9, can you start to journey on your own. Questions at this point? JC, your comment is too long for me to read right now. I can't even see it fully, but I'm going to get back to you later. Charlotte, you're saying that is the reason I need framework. Yeah, everybody does it. It's really important. I'm so in the right place here. Yes, you are, Charlotte. Hi, Magda. How are you, lovely? Magda has studied shamanic journeying with me, and she's really, really good at it. She's a natural. Yes, Victoria. So you're in the apprenticeship. So yeah, you will be ready. So the challenge that I did for you those 5 days, there were a lot of things that were meant to happen during that time, and one of them was for me to see who's actually ready. So the day 2 experience where I guided you to your higher self, that was very revelatory for me to know if you're ready or not, because I don't want to accept people into the apprenticeship who I'm not sure are in the right place. So yeah, you will learn exactly that, what I've just covered. This process that I've just been talking about, this 9-step process, is called the Shamanic Yoga Transformation. I developed it 4 years ago, and I've been teaching it to over 100 women from all over the globe. And the way it works is that you're guided through those 9 steps in the course of 9 weeks with a short daily practice. Right, we started with self-love. That was step 1. So that short daily practice is all about self-love. It's 10 minutes long. This is what you practice during the first week. And the second week is all about calming the mind. So this is the practice where you flow out of your mind. And the third one is all about the heart space, right? So I've talked about all of this. So this is the 10 minutes practice, which will change every week and build that important foundation that you need. And then every week you have one longer practice, which is like 25 minutes long. And this one will move you one step ahead. Okay, so this is where you will eventually do your first shamanic journeys. The first one is already in week 4. So that's the journey to the gateway, the first one that you really need to do. So very exciting. And in the 5th week, you're already going to enter the shamanic realm for the first time to be guided to your personal power animal, your spirit animal. And then, of course, we have weekly live sessions to share and ask your questions, which is super important because this goes so deep and things will shift for you and they will influence your whole life for the better. But you know what it's like. It might be confusing in the beginning. So you absolutely want to have a place where you can ask your questions. It's just really important to have somebody to talk about everything that's going on. And it's also beautiful doing it in a group of like-minded women. And what I've also added to this process is some really important healing processes like inner child healing, like shadow integration, like working with the feminine archetypes, which are really necessary foundation for all of us to feel whole and happy and, you know, have our lives going the way that we want them to. And the transformation itself is actually 12 weeks long, so that you definitely have enough time to process and complete the 9 steps. So those of you who have joined me in the apprenticeship, this is the first part of the program for you before continuing with learning how to use shamanic journeying for your clients to perform soul part retrievals and power retrievals and energy extractions and soul part extractions. Okay? But I also teach this process, the transformation, separately. So if you are not in the apprenticeship, but you do know that you need to accelerate your own healing journey and that you want to study shamanic journeying, then this might be perfect for you. It's, you know, also great to start this if you're not sure yet that you want to become a healer, because I've added a really cool bonus, a 2-week program that's called Find Your Calling, which is a really amazing process that I've also been teaching for years. And I know some of you, you're already sure that you want to be healers, but you haven't joined the apprenticeship because of finances. And then the transformation might also be great for you because it's only 1K. And there's a super cool, super easy 6 months payment plan at the moment. Another really cool thing about it is that if later on you decide that you do want to do the apprenticeship because you're like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I want to actually, you know, not just help myself with shamanic journeying, I want to help so many other people with the same skill, then you can seamlessly start the apprenticeship from there whenever there's an opening. And you even get a 500 euro discount on it because you already have completed the first part of it. So you can start with part 2 and 3. Good. So if this is interesting, then send me a PM and I'll send along all the details for you to read through. And this is a great time to start because 3 of you have just started the transformation. And it's just so nice, you know, when those who are on the same path are also in the same place in the process. It's just really a very enriching experience to have all that support and inspiration. Yeah, it is really exciting, Victoria. I'm so happy to get started with all of you tomorrow in the apprenticeship. Good. Any questions before we end this live? Not seeing any questions pop up. You can always ask them later, especially also those of you who are on the recording, and feel free to send me a PM if you want to join the transformation. Waiting 1 more minute here. Yeah, and next week at 5 p.m. On a Saturday, just same time, same place, I'll be talking about the heart chakra, which is gonna be beautiful. I'd love that, Angelique. Good. Lots of love to everybody. Mwah. Bye for now.